So the leak, the Supreme Court decision on Roe v. Wade has been leaked, which is it's never been done before. It's an unprecedented breach of security, the likes that no rational society should be experiencing right now, but those are the times we live in. So the leak. So Roe versus Wade might be made gone if this leak holds up. It's supposed to be the Samuel Alito writing the majority opinion for KCV Planned Parenthood, which in which Roe v. Wade, which gives the federal right to abortion. That's where the federal right to abortion comes from. I'm not here to talk about whether I agree with the decision by the court, if it does, if Alito is actually right in the opinion. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about how we got here in the first place, to how we got to the end of federal abortion, and how we got a political will to end in federal abortion, and the political will to end in federal abortion could not have happened without the pro-abortion left. Could not have happened without the pro-abortion left's help. They got egregious and they got ghoulish with abortion. Yes, the people don't much like how comfortable the pro-abortionists got with up to birth and even in some cases post-birth abortion. But let's put that on the shelf. The abortion side became arrogant, superficial, and intellectually lazy. Roe v. Wade itself was always on shaky legal ground. The average pro-abortion advocate could not make a constitutional argument for abortion that didn't undermine their likely stance on being pro-vaccine mandate. They could not make that case without undermining that. And Roe v. Wade was based on medical privacy and autonomy under the 14th Amendment and the penumbras of privacy and a whole bunch of legal mumbo jumbo that no other law has ever had the privilege of living with. But so your average pro-abortion person tends to be on the left and tends to be pro-vaccine mandate. So that alone is inconsistent. But the legal ground on which abortion was based on would totally make illegal vaccine mandates, and so it became just this intellectually lazy pursuit, totally lacking of reason and logic, in which abortion was special. But other than feelings, they couldn't tell you why they thought abortion was special. So it was always the legal will, the intellectual argument underpinning it, never worked for people who weren't already true believers. But what got weird is that we used to be collectively, the average American person, even if it goes back and forth between majority for abortion, majority against abortion, swings back and forth. But how, as a consensus, how we were able to live with the necessary evil, or be fine with this necessary or unnecessary, however you want to call it, evil. We always said to ourselves, they always said to us, safe, legal, and rare. Safe, legal, and rare. So we're like, yeah, if incest, rape, life of the mother, we're all fine with that. Maybe then we even got to a poor woman made a mistake, and she just wants to get on and have a career or something like that. Safe, legal, and rare. Safe, legal, and rare. And that's gone. They don't even talk about safe, legal, and rare. Safe, legal, and rare was the Clinton administration. I haven't even heard that stance in a while. And now it's just ghoulish, and it's even got hints of eugenics to it. And the eugenics is based on materialism. The kid's got to have more stuff. The mother's too poor to buy the kid a trip to Disney and the latest clothing and whatever else stuff. We can't buy the kid all the good stuff, so we got to kill it. We got to kill the kid. And a lot of the eugenics was you hear this lately on the climate change, that the myth of human overpopulation. That's another story. That's a myth. that we have to do it for the environment. There's too many people on the earth. So, abortion was by the consensus of America was this sacred stewardship. It was a reluctant power of life and death, and it's been turned into this frivolity, and it's lost. And the losing a solemnity of abortion, it worked both ways. If pro-abortionists were treated the act of abortion seriously, then abortion. If pro-abortionists stopped treating the act of abortion serious, then abortion would stop being serious, and that's what happened. The very institution of abortion stopped being this infallible, sometimes reluctant institution that we allowed to those on the fence, and abortion became a road comedy, silly road comedy sitcom thing you see on HBO, or a little plot point on a TV drama, on a network TV drama, little throwaway line of, "Oh, I did this because it was my choice." It just became very frivolous, and it stopped being important. So once something's not important anymore, and once something is just seems like a silly accessory, when it's time for spring cleaning, you're not afraid to throw it out. And why is the whole political will important when the Supreme Court's not accountable to the people? Well, in Alito's ruling, one of the things he mentioned is how, since the abortion argument is based on very bad constitutional law, that bad constitutional law on which it's based on has caused, quote, harsh debate and divisive, and caused a deep divide among the American people. Paraphrasing, but it's along those lines. So he's saying that our debates are inflamed, are based on emotion and not based on law, because the federal abortion right was not based on good law. And when something's not based on good law, then it's based on feelings, and we pick and choose, and we start crying, and the whole myth of the back alley abortion thing is always used. Keep in mind that the most deaths in a single year of back alley abortions death was about 44. It wasn't thousands. Thousands of women have not all told died of abortion in since we've been keeping records. That's fake. Women die of quote unquote legal abortions, but the myth of the back alley abortion deaths is always been overhyped. It's not thousands at all. That's just been a talking point. But so abortion's been just this, on one side it stopped being serious, it stopped being an important right. We have to protect this sacred right. That stopped being a mainstream view, and it started being a solidly left-wing view. It no longer became a mainstream view because it how silly and unimportant they made it. They wanted to lessen the impact. They wanted to hide from the fact that there was a potential life inside of you. And they did everything they could to make it silly, acceptable, and just casual, and just do it. So when you do that, it's not important to anybody but the people who the died in the will, super zealots of abortion, the Planned Parenthood abortions. The other thing that they used to have with a legal moral authority was the civil libertarian principles that backed up abortion, and those very people ridiculed that mindset. That the whole civil libertarian principle during the pandemic, where there's someone who's pro-abortion, there's usually someone who's pro-mask, someone who's usually pro-mask mandate, usually pro-vax mandate, and all kinds of things. They got rid of it. So it's not serious, and it's not part of a larger principle. So it just turns into, I want an abortion because I want an abortion. I made a mistake, I want a kid. Everyone has a story, everyone in abortion has a tough choice that millions of women have made. And that no one's saying anything about that. But when it's not based on any through logic, and it's just based on emotion, Well, people who are emotionally detached from your situation look at it logically, legally, look at it black and white through a prism of grounded in precedent, and they say to themselves, yeah, this isn't, it's not my, in a sense, to say it's not my problem. It's not based on any constitutional principle. It's just based on, someone's sob story. And usually the sob story is, I have to, I have to do this because, then I won't be able to afford a Peloton or be able to get that corner office in my law firm. That's definitely a setback in your life, but that's not based on anything that's universal. Um, Anything that's universal other than I want it and I want it now. Um, so abortion's no big deal. There's a lot of LOL. There's no civil liberties has become an alt-right thing now. It's been labeled as an alt-right thing. So whatever's right. You can close my small business. You can force a jab in my child's arm. You can forbid me from saying mean things. But don't touch abortion because, reasons. Abortion's different because reasons. That doesn't make sense. It all has to be true. If you're making a legal case for abortion when you're talking about it, because that's the only thing that matters. We live in a legal system. We're founded on a legal document, the Constitution, where we follow the rule of law. If you are not making a legal, rational, emotionally detached argument for abortion, that's part of a larger civil liberty thing, and and you're turning abortion to a silly, casual thing anyway, then what are we doing here? It's basically, abortion basically is the equivalent of people making silly dances on a TikTok video. It's important to you emotionally, but you stopped making the case to the rest of us. And maybe the abortion base, maybe the abortion movement was built on feelings-based impulsivity to begin with. Maybe it's been enabled by post-fertile women who want to feel young again, or maybe it's based on a woman who's like, oh, I went through that problem. I don't want anyone to go through that again, so do it too. Who knows? But it's doesn't feel as though it's based on anything of this is going to sound horrible, but it doesn't feel like it's based on anything of substance. And a side note here too. Everyone's fighting for 20-something-year-old girls' right to this procedure, and they're the least likely to vote, and they're definitely the least likely to give two damns about you. Women, if you're over 30, 20-something-year-old girls, and you might remember this yourself, they think you're old and gross. If you're at a bar and you're over 30, they're making fun of you. They're not fighting for, if you're a mom who's fighting for these girls, they're not fighting for your fertility treatments. They're not fighting for your universal daycare. They're not fighting for anything with you at all. You're wasting a lot of political capital on people who do not give two damns about you. They're not fighting for you. So you're blowing all your political capital on them. Think of all the things you should be fighting for, from schools to foreign policy to your health, and you're fighting for these girls' health who aren't given to you because, I don't know, is this some kind of thing that makes you feel young? Is it something that some kind of bigger problem other than this? But I noticed this with the black community too, that we blacks tend to blow all of our political capital on the criminal, and we live life like that like one of those TV shows where the black man was wrongfully convicted of a crime he didn't commit, and every black guy in jail or in the system is one of those people wrongfully convicted. The poor thing, how could you? And there must be just one white guy committing millions of crimes every year or something. But we so many things we could be fighting for as black people, and we blow all of our political capital on criminals. Most people in court are guilty as hell. Most black people you see, they are guilty as hell. They're bad people. They should be locked up. That's a different story. And black people, who, if you're for abortion too, keep in mind Margaret Sanger, black people are weeds, the founder of Planned Parenthood, said that black people are weeds. And it goes back to that eugenics thing too. That's been what the establishment seems to be fighting for abortion with at this point, for kind of eugenics. You have entire countries that have been proud of themselves for banning children with Down syndrome. Down syndrome is a very serious thing, and in making a decision on whether or not you terminate that pregnancy when you find out that your child is going to have Down syndrome is a very serious thing. But parents with children with Down syndromes love their children, and a lot of us see Down syndrome kids, and they're just great and friendly, and they bring a smile to a lot of our faces, including mine. I see a couple of them on a regular basis around town, and they're just great. And to celebrate that they've been wiped out is disgusting. You're going to hear a lot about how this ruling is going to hurt the poor, and what they're saying is that poor people should be wiped out, or there should be less poor people because they're poor. So if we just wipe them out, wouldn't that be great? Because there'd be less poor people. So it's there's so many hints of eugenics, so many hints of wrong things, illogic, and just pure evil. What's going on with this? Again, yes, abortion means a lot to the people who are diehard zealots of abortion, and I get that. I get where you're coming from emotionally, but you just made it about your emotion and nothing else for other people. I'm going to keep on repeating that. Other people have to be sold on it. Just because you feel strongly about an issue doesn't mean that other people feel strongly about that issue. It's the very height of solipsism if you think that just because something's important to you, that it's important to other people, when you have not been intellectually strong enough or disciplined enough to make that argument. And abortion as this personal right anyway has vanished from the Overton window. It's just been, it just shifted. And so since it shifted from, like I said, personal rights to I want it. Personal rights, I want it. Safe, legal, and rare post-birth. Hey, this is a serious decision women have to make. Ha comedy, Olivia Pope did it because she just wanted to. So all those things have gone out the window, and it's gone from, and it's based on id and not ideology in this sense. And so what are we fighting for now? What is this big fight we're fighting for now? It's not fighting over something that's serious. We're not fighting over this big legal principle. What are we fighting for? We're fighting over some women in red states having to travel out of state to have an abortion. So abortion rights is now in the hands of states. That's what happens with the overturn of Roe v. Wade. It doesn't become illegal. It goes back into the hands of states. States where you have the control. You have more power over what goes on in your state than you do over a centralized government that's far away from your home. You have a state house you can go to and make your argument, make the democratic argument for abortion. It goes in the hands of state. Some states are going to repeal abortion, and now those women are going to have to go on a bus to their nearest blue state to get an abortion. And so since this is no longer a serious, solemn, principled legal issue that we're fighting for anymore, it's now just the issue of whether or not women are jumping on a Greyhound bus or not. This has now become it's not fair that abortion is now going to be a little inconvenient now for some women of America. Hardly worth getting your feathers in a row. Right? Civil liberties doesn't matter. This is just a casual, silly thing. So, why should I worry? You're just going on a bus, you'll be fine. So, abortion's no big deal, right? It's just an abortion, just a medical decision that women can make, and it's not your business and all that stuff. So, no biggie. So, with that, happy travels to you, and if you need a bus ticket out of state, I'm sure there'll be a GoFundMe for it. This is your fault. You treated it silly, and you weren't intellectually honest or strong with it, and that's why it's gone. Where's Tiffany Dover? Where's she at? Bye.